the truth is, I have no control over that, and I never will.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever. You can't control how those things go. You can only control your own part.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm so happy you guys tuned in again. Today I have a really special treat. It's my buddy John, who's also known as Pickles, and I just want you guys to hear his story because I think he's been through, I know he's been through a lot, and I know that a lot of us have probably been to similar situations, not to his extent or not in the same perspective, but differently. And I think that what he went through and the steps that he did to like get out of that and to be where he's at now, it's just incredible, and it'll be helpful for anyone. And hopefully at the end of the day, if anything, it just encourages you a little bit. But bro, why don't you just tell us like what you do?
So my name is Pickles. I am a streamer on Facebook, YouTube, DLive, and Twitch. I stream PUBG Mobile.
Yeah.
I have 250,000 followers.
That's my boy. So his name legally isn't Pickles, so your name's John. but your whole like streaming face, I guess you could say, is Pickles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, you guys heard like he's got 250,000 followers, and that was what, just under a year that you reached that?
Yeah, 10 months.
Yeah,
9 months.
which is huge. But what I want to know is like a lot of people, they see the face of like this is who you are, and they see the streamer, they see the gamer, they see the guy laughing on the screens. You know what I'm saying? The guy that's like holding this community together. But I guess what I want to know, and what I want people to know, and what you're comfortable sharing is, who were you before Pickles, and what brought you to that place? Does that make sense?
I was a little shithead.
If we're being honest.
Man, so I guess the darkest part of who I was before Pickles.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, man, I was a teenager. I was a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And before the age of 20, I had 2 DWIs, and I had been to jail 13 times.
Oh my god.
For drinking.
13 times.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. At that point, I thought my life was ruined.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a DWI,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be poor. I can't get a job.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a huge deal. And at that age, at age 20, I was just a blackout drinker. I drank every day until it was time to pass out.
Wow.
So I eventually got told by the state of Texas that I should probably go get sober. And
not even like friends or anything. The state. Totally.
Yeah, they thought it was a good idea.
That's awesome.
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, they were right. Yeah, when I was 20, I got sober. I was sober for 5 years.
Come
on the dot. I actually planned my relapse on my 5th year
Really?
anniversary. Yeah.
Really?
I had been sober, and I thought I was just kicking life's ass.
Yeah.
And I was 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and at that age I was already, just killing it. I was working a 6-figure job, and driving a nice car, and I had a girlfriend and a nice place,
and this was all while you were sober?
This is all while I was sober. And I just like, you know what, maybe I should try drinking again, because I'm probably not still that little shithead that I was.
Yeah.
When I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I went out and drank, and probably drank every day for about a year. So I guess you could say it went well. But,
yeah. I guess you weren't that little anymore.
Yeah. And it didn't take long. My whole life had fallen apart.
Yeah.
House of Cards, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was looking at my car getting repoed. I had been forced to move out of my apartment because couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And I was just living at my grandma's house. Is actually just like that movie.
Yeah.
Grandma's Boy.
We're all grandma's boys though.
And Yeah, it was a horrible spot in life, and the craziest thing happened that got me sober. I was working for a roofing company, and we went out for an outing, and it was, you know, huge nationwide roofing company.
Yeah.
And long story short, someone just sucker punched and knocked me out when I was just blackout drunk. I probably did something, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but yeah, it turned out to be the founder of the company that knocked me out.
That you were working for?
Yeah, and they fired him.
They fired the founder?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, the board had a meeting on a Saturday. They said, "You're fired, bud."
Jeez, dude.
Yeah, and
I didn't know that.
my boss actually was like, "Hey, bud, they said you still have your job if you get sober." I was like, "Well, my time to shine."
Yeah.
3 weeks later, I was out of my grandma's house.
Wow.
My car, my financial stuff was all back in order. 3 weeks later.
Just being sober for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just coming out of the fog. Wow. And
that's a really good way to say it. Like, that just caught my attention, like, coming out of the fog. Because when you're in that stuff, like, I've struggled with my own personal, like, addictions before and still constantly, you know, struggle to overcome them. But it's true, it's like foggy. It's almost like you're not present in, like, the day kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good way to put it, dude. When I was dealing with my struggles, my mindset was basically just how to feel okay on a moment-to-moment basis.
Yeah.
And usually the easiest way to do that is just go buy a case of beer.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you're okay. I mean,
that's true.
Screw the bills.
Yeah.
You know.
Or at least for that moment, you're okay.
Yeah, and that's where I took it. So that's, you know, knowing that I'm not capable of doing that like a normal person.
Yeah.
That was part of my journey.
Yeah.
You know, some people are capable of coming home from a hard day of work or from something, you know, that happened.
Yeah.
And having, you know, their favorite drink.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, it wasn't a drink for you, it was drinks.
Yeah.
Drinks
and
I
always
drinks.
said, I'm allergic to alcohol. I break out in handcuffs.
That's amazing.
And, yeah, it's been a journey.
Yeah. So what was the thing that led you to, like, you had these struggles, you got clean, right? And then you relapsed, and then you got clean again. And then after that, I remember you shared with me a little bit something that, like, certain scenarios that led you to, like, a deep depression. That in that depression is actually when this Pickles started, like developing.
Green phoenix.
Yeah, just summoning,
rising from the ashes.
So what was that situation?
So I had just randomly gotten into a field of construction when I was 20. And when I was getting sober, I had some good friends saying, "Hey, you're the techie guy. You're gonna come help us with this startup construction company."
Got it.
And it worked out really well, and I really enjoyed it. And I kind of found out more about myself. You know, the entrepreneurial, you know, business minded, like, I like this kind of stuff thing.
Yeah.
And it led to me to just go down the rabbit hole in a field I never thought I would. Construction.
Yeah.
Insurance claims. Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
But I ended up having my highs and my lows with that, and I ended up being a salesman for the fourth company I worked for.
Wow.
And I was knocking doors, man.
Yeah.
I was grinding.
Yeah.
I knocked doors for years, selling roofs.
Yeah.
And
it's so different than what you do now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually, my first harsh experience in the work world was I had a company just arbitrarily terminate me and take all of my commissions from that year and not pay me.
Yeah.
And I was furious, you know.
Yeah, well, that hard work and
it was hundreds of thousands.
Jeez.
It was a lot of money. And I was just rocking it. And all that was just gone. And that's what made me start my own company.
Yeah.
I started my own company in 2014. And it was kind of nothing until 2017, and it blew up. And my revenue that, you know, in the biggest year I had was, you know, over $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's when I fell into crippling depression. I had some people take a lot of money from the company, and instead of dealing with it head on, I just started drinking again.
Yeah.
And because, you know, it's too much for me to handle at that point. I pretty much just laid in bed for 9 months.
Wow.
And let my whole company just fall apart. Let my life fall apart. Didn't pay any of my bills. I was just paralyzed, just rendered useless.
Yeah.
And I was just laying in bed and drinking all day.
So you went into depression, and that was. Do you think that was mainly based off of, because, I mean, from the sounds of it, you have gotten screwed over by company after company, and then by people after people. And so is that the thing that led you to, like, the depression, I guess you could say?
Yeah, definitely. I can't really say that that's what led me to drinking.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that was my own choice.
Yeah. But to that point, it was almost like that was pretty much the only thing you knew to turn to when you got backed up against the wall. No, it was like the drinking.
Yeah. You know, we've talked about this a little before, but, you know, everyone has their own way of handling life. Mm-hmm. And some are better at it than others in certain ways.
Yeah.
And it's just figuring out how to handle those things intuitively.
Yeah.
And that's not always everyone's first reaction.
Yeah.
So, you know, the alcohol was just a symptom.
Yeah. But it's trippy to notice that even when you were in that place and you were drinking, that's when you started playing PUBG Mobile, right? Which is kind of where everything started.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which sounds weird. It's like in the middle of all of my filth and of my mess.
Yeah. That's
where I actually started becoming Pickles without even knowing that because you weren't even planning on streaming originally, right?
Right. Yeah. I was just playing, you know, and unmercifully killing people. And, you know, there were kids who, you know, loosely throw around accusations. Oh, this Pickles is a hacker, and, you know, I got so resentful towards it. Like, I'm gonna show those guys. I'm gonna fucking stream, dude. So they check out my videos,
so they can see I'm not hacking. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So, yeah, that's how that started. And you know, I remember talking to a friend on the phone, and the words that stuck with me was, you know, baby steps.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, that's pretty much all I probably remembered from that phone call. You know, that's what I did. I laid in bed, you know, and then I laid in bed and played video games on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, you know what? Why can't I just, like, kind of scooch out of bed, sit in a chair in front of a camera and play video games on my phone?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I do today.
Literally.
Yeah.
Except now you do it like at an expert level. You know what I mean? But
I guess you could say that.
But you weren't there from the beginning.
Yeah.
So throughout this time, did you get sober at all between that, or were you still kind of dealing with that while building Pickles up?
I was still dealing with my addiction, you know, with drinking at that point in time, and I was building it up, and I was just going at it with brute force.
Yeah.
You know, I was going at it heavy, and just I would just stream all day, every day. That's all I knew how to do. I was like, I got this.
You still do. You still stream like 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah. But I mean, that's that. It was just kind of this feeling of riding a bicycle without the training wheels. You know, look, Ma. You know, I'm just. You know, and I embraced that so hard, and you know, I just went with it. Yeah. And I feel like it probably saved my life.
Yeah.
Because
dude, that's crazy that you say that, because you would think that would have been enough to get you to stop drinking right then and there, but it wasn't.
Yeah. You know, I wasn't thinking about my problems anymore. You know, I was just focusing on how to feel sorry for myself, how to blame someone else or some sort of incident on my situation.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I have no control over that, and I never will.
Mm-hmm.
No one ever. You can't control how those things go. You can only control your own part.
That's good. That's really good. It's true too, man.
Yeah.
So you started taking control of it little by little. When was it that? Because you started building up Pickles, you started catching momentum, but you were still dealing with this alcohol thing.
Yeah.
And so when was it that you were like, you know what, like, that's it, and then you started breaking off that addiction?
Well, I think rock bottom for me was I'd mentioned my financially, I was just done.
Yeah.
You know, my company, my bills were not getting paid.
Yeah.
I was just morally and financially bankrupt.
Yeah.
And it's not like those problems were gone when I started drinking.
Yeah.
You know, I was just sticking my head in the sand.
Yeah.
But I hit rock bottom actually within my own extended community. I had kind of just gone across the line and said something offensive to someone, and probably caused a lot of collateral damage.
Yeah.
And I had just realized that it was not something helping me.
Yeah.
It was not something adding to my life.
Yeah.
So I got sober the next day.
Now, this event, is that now, like, in the whole, like, Pickles community that you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. And that's what drove you to finally be like, hey, you know what, like, this is...
Yeah, you know, I cherish my community that I've built.
Yeah.
I can't even take full credit for it.
Yeah.
And I had realized that that's all I had left, you know. And I had wronged my own community.
Yeah.
So that was really scary for me.
Yeah.
And you know, I had lost everything else. I can't lose.
Yeah.
The only fulfilling thing I had in life.
Yeah. Dude, that just shows so much of your heart. Like, you've had people beating you this whole time, literally beating you, like, like mentally and financially, which then took a toll on you. I guess you could say, like, on your spirit, like spiritually, to where you were just downcast.
Yeah. And
then now you, like, built this community of people that everyone supports you. You love on them, they love on you. Like, I'm telling you guys, if you check out a stream, it's like nothing you've seen before. Like, no other streamer does it like he does it. Like, immediately you feel welcomed, and if you are a jerk, then immediately you feel unwelcomed because everyone has their own back, like, and his back especially. But, like, I can see what you mean. Like, you went through all of this, and then because of alcohol, you caught yourself almost being that other person, and now taking a hit at someone, and you realize that's not who I am.
Yeah.
That's not who I want to be.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, I couldn't keep focusing on how someone else was affecting me.
Yeah.
Even through this most recent, series of events that we might not go into, but you can't control anyone else. But what I focused on instead was what could I have done different?
Wow.
I couldn't just keep doing what I was doing and getting screwed up.
Yeah.
Pouring liquor over my brain all night.
Yeah.
And waking up in the morning and looking at the aftermath.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's powerful. I think a lot of people need to hear that no matter what you're going through, no matter what life's hit you with, you can't control that. All you can control is you.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's enough. I think all the time that's enough, because if you can control what you can do and make changes in yourself, you may not be able to change the circumstances, but you can definitely change, like, who you are and how you feel and how you act, and then that begins to change the circumstances. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you've seen that in your stream. Like, as soon as you started making little moves towards building this thing, like, now it's just snowballing. Now it's just growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And if it's healthy, it grows. If it's not healthy, it doesn't grow. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome, man. That's incredible. I think that's powerful, man. I think that's a good place to end at. But if you could say something to somebody that feels like you felt, or that is struggling with an addiction, or is that struggling with depression, or just feels like life keeps like beating them down, like what would you say to them?
I would say the biggest obstacle that I've faced was myself in life. And you can't, damn it, that's really good. Not accepting help does not make you brave.
Yeah.
You can't be too proud.
Yeah.
To reach out. You can't just keep feeling sorry for yourself. And sometimes it takes someone else to reach out and say, hey man, you're worth it.
Yeah.
You know, we care about you. And I know how cheesy and sappy that sounds.
But it's
and
true.
I've heard that message 1,000 times, but I never really heard it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like there's a certain level of being honest with yourself that helps you face your problems.
Yeah. Wow, dude. That's really good. That's really good. I hope that this encouraged you guys at least a little bit. If it encourages one of you guys, then I believe that we succeeded in this. But guys, please subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Share it with someone that you think needs to hear it. And also, I'm going to put in all of his plugs so that you guys can go follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And check out his stream, man, because if you play PUBG Mobile, you'll probably get addicted to his stream. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. But until next time, you guys take it easy and have an awesome day.